Hello everybody, my name is Panders, and today I'm going to teach you how to build the house that is behind me. Well, kind of, sort of. You see, I'm not going to teach you how to build this block by block, step by step. Instead, I'm going to teach you all the fundamentals that go into building a house like this so that you could make something similar to it, if not better, with your own blocks that you have access to in survival or creative or whatever you're playing. So I'm going to show you everything that goes through my head and all of the steps that I learned how to make something like this. So hopefully it helps you. So let's get right into it. When we all start Minecraft, it's very likely we've probably started in a house similar to this, just a square box, nothing too fancy, and it does well. It does very good for just making us survive the first night, and it's pretty cozy. I'm not gonna lie. I've spent many nights in this house, but eventually you want to start building a little bit better. So you want to maybe get to like the house I showed you already. So I just want to go over that. Just like when you're drawing, you need to start with basic shapes first. So make sure you know what kind of shape you want. Do you want just a square? Do you want multiple squares? What are you going to do? So make sure you get your foundation out first. So if you're starting with a square, or if you want to follow along, I'm going to go through all the steps that it takes to make a more interesting and dynamic looking house. So we'll go from this, and then maybe we need to make a little bit more of a triangle roof. Maybe the rain's going to come down, but this is the next step that we generally take. We want to make it seem a little bit more interesting, so we lift the house up a little bit, we lift the roof up a bit, and that does okay as well. It's not the best, but there is more steps that we can take, which is maybe we add some extra blocks. In this step, or this example, we have stairs. Maybe we offset a stair or two. Maybe we make it look like a little bit of a castle. We have a lot of design choices with just stairs, but it's not necessarily looking just like a house yet. It's still looking very cube-like. So what do you need to do after that? Well, you should probably build a roof. And this is a very simple roof. It's not very fancy at all. And to show you how not fancy it is, it's just stairs that are placed and then upside down. Placed and then upside down. If I go like that, it has a different type of roof effect, but it's still a roof, but it adds a little bit more shape now. So now we went away from just our square to having a full roof. And again, it's just using stairs a little bit more dynamically, which I'm sure you've probably already experimented with that. But how do we go from a plain looking house to, again, a more colorful house that pops? Well, having one color, actually, let's go back to just even this house. Having one color, it's a house. It looks like a house, but it's nothing. It's interesting. Your eye doesn't know where to look. More ideally, it's probably going to look right here, just because that's the only separate color compared to the rest of the house. Maybe the shadows of the stairs might draw your eyes, but more often than not, you're going to look right at the door. So how do we draw more attention to the house overall? We add more blocks. We add a different texture. We add a different color, and it's already starting to look like something completely different. And if you look carefully, we still have just the basic frame of the original box that we had, but we just added the roof and a couple of blocks. This isn't that much different from what we had. It's just adding a little bit extra details. So you go from extra texture and extra color to make things pop a little bit, which then you lead to adding that same effect into your roof. If we have just the same color in the roof, it starts to get a little bit bland. Your eye doesn't know where to look. So why not add the same effect, which is a trim, which is what we have on the house, but on the roof. It starts to make it a little bit more dynamic. It starts to make things pop a little bit more. So now the roof that is matching the color of our main house has somewhere to be kind of a central point of focus because it's not the same color all around. So that's an awesome little effect too that totally makes this already a way better house than when we started. And how many steps is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 steps. We've already made a very cozy, I would say, cottage looking house. It's very cute. How do we make it even better? Well, now we can make a little bit of depth in the house. And what do I mean by that? Start bringing that trim out a little bit. You see how now there's a block of space between the house. It's not a huge step or a huge thing that you have to do that's taxing when you're playing or placing your blocks, but it's something that makes a huge difference when you're actually building. Bringing things out a block, creating depth creates a lot of interest. You'll notice that we have a little bit of space up there. Maybe we can put a window. We have options, but creating these options only comes from giving us space with more blocks, which allows us to add a lot more details simply by bringing the block out one. So we can extend that effect again all the way around the house. Allowing that space allows for a lot of detail all the way around. So when you look at the house in many angles, it creates interest all the way around. Now it's not just interesting from here. So if we look at the old house where it was just flat one on the wall, now it has depth again. You can see from here to here how much of a difference that makes. And again, we're not taking drastic steps. We're still building upon that very, very basic frame. In more ways than one, we've already learned how to build a full house. Again, this works. There's a lot of detail that we can add, but this is kind of the fundamentals of it. Why not now replicate the fundamentals to give the roof a little bit more interest? Which is what we did here. So basically this roof, this window, this offset is a complete replica of the front of the house here. There's really nothing that's done differently, but again, it creates a different shape out of the roof, but creates more shape of the overall house to create more interest. Now, here's something that's pretty interesting. You can play with it a little bit. Maybe you want to make a balcony for this. Maybe you don't like that the stairs are here. That's where your own creative touch starts to come into play. What do you like? What do you not? Do you want it to connect all the way? This is Minecraft. Build things the way you want to. Learn what you can from here. Use what works for you and throw away what doesn't. If you don't like this style, then it's not for you. But these are fundamentals that will definitely help you start to figure out what you like or don't like. And you can also replicate that on both sides of the house to create, again, a very cute and cozy little house. Now, how do we make some details? Well, again, this is our same house replicated all the way from our little box all the way down. There are a lot of blocks that make a house super interesting. One of them are gates. You can place gates all over, almost like it's holding part of the house up. You close them. That's super helpful. You add flower pots. You add fences. This is, again, where your creative style comes into play. How can you make your house interesting? Do you like to place fences as support beams? Do you like to place lanterns? How do you place the support beams? These are simple blocks that everyone has access to. Maybe it'll take you a little bit more time in survival to collect them, but it adds a huge step into creating, again, that depth. Another block out, but it creates space and detail for the eye to look at. It's not just one color and shape. As well, if you look at the wall now, it's not just planks. We've offset that constant pattern by having strip logs here. It creates a different texture for the eye to look at. As well, one thing that a lot of people kind of forget about is the outside of your house actually does a huge amount of effort in making your whole house looking nice by giving more detail. Look, if we look out in the open field, there's nothing there. It's not that interesting. Your eye kind of wanders. It doesn't know what to look at. But here we have a pop of yellow, white, blue. The birchwood is now complemented by these gates. There's a lot of detail and interest with a couple of different blocks as well. Adding stairs in places really, really creates a huge effect on your house. Use them all over. See what you like, see what you don't, see where it works, and see where it doesn't. As well, playing with lighting. Did I put a button on here? I did. Play with lighting. The lighting at night is a huge thing in real life and in Minecraft. You don't want any monsters spawning around your house, so how are you going to light it? Personally, I like to hide some lighting in some pumpkins, cover them up with carpet, or just use some leaf blocks. There's a lot of options to make things look really nice. And again, looking at this house to here, there's not a huge difference except for a couple of detail blocks, which that's for you and your creative input to decide what you like or what you don't. So now I bet you're wondering, how did I create that house in the beginning? Lucky for you, I recorded the whole thing. So if you want to watch me, I did create a time lapse. So let's take a look at how that beautiful house was made. I know what you're thinking. This house looks a lot more complicated than one I showed before, but it's really not. If you look at it closely, it's all of the exact same fundamentals. If we look first at the back, like the main wall, it has a mix match. So it's not just planks everywhere. At least it is planks, but it's different colored planks. So that changes immediately the color. So it's not just one color everywhere. Secondly, I placed a whole bunch of stairs. Remember I said stairs can be really useful to add in places to add texture? Well, I use them as the wall. So it insets a little bit and creates more depth within a one block frame. Talking about depth, notice how we have these beams sticking out, holding up our roof support, and that creates more depth, like we did in the other house, which creates the frame, and we did the same for our ceiling. Now, if we look at the bottom layer, it's the exact same thing. We came out a block with our beams, and now our wall is multiple blocks in colors of the same tone at least, so it doesn't get too distracting, but it's all the same fundamentals. We used, exactly like in the first house, we use the gates to create more texture, and even some trapdoors on the beams and buttons, more detail blocks, but again, the exact same fundamentals. The roof, exactly the same. You have the same style, just with different blocks and different colors to create, well, ignore that side, but different blocks and different textures to create more interest. It breaks up the pattern so your eye can relax. It doesn't strain staring at the same pattern all over. And then same thing with like all around. Our shape is exactly the same. Now, I didn't actually detail all the way around the house, which depending on how you treat your house, you probably want to if you're going to be around it a lot, but I just wanted to show you the front of it. Now, exactly like I said, the front of the house creates a lot of interest. So you have paths that you can make that leads your eye toward the house. You put some fence out here, leads your eye toward the house, even adding some trees and a little pond. These are outside details that complement the main house to make it more interesting. The only thing I'd say that this house has that the other one doesn't is the windows, which isn't very complicated. It's, again, stairs upside down, out one block. Again, same fundamentals to create a little bit more interest. But see, if you use the fundamentals that I went over in this house, I am sure, I am positive, I am 100% guaranteeing you will be able to make a house that is better than this one. Play with shapes, play with texture, play with blocks, practice these fundamentals. Everything in life is all about the fundamentals. If you look at any basketball player, any pro MMA fighter, whoever you want to use as an example, 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you, if you listen to them speak, they're going to say it's all about the fundamentals. If you can nail and practice the fundamentals, that's all you really need. Then everything is all about sprinkling in extra details. Anyways, my name is Panders, and I hope you learned something today. I would love to see what you guys build. If you want to join my Discord, the description is down below. Show me some pictures, post them in my Discord channel. Show me something better than this, because I know you guys can do it. I believe in you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.